Don in London, hello, it's November 25th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, completely addictive as well, workaholic, relationshipaholic. Why? Well, I guess trying to be perfect, and never so, and always striving to be what I thought you wanted me to be. So, a crazy life in many ways. 35 years of drinking, plus probably, and all that time trying to be whatever I thought I ought to be and what I thought you wanted me to be. So, a very confused teddy bear in many ways, and not quite sure of how life works, or how life could work, or how to live life, all those things. And really, the experience, strength and hope I gained through those drinking years was all about trying to be something, and I didn't know what it was. I had no real clue about my own identity, who I was, or who I could be, or who I am. So these days, when I learn a day at a time who I am, that I'm progressing, I'm never going to be perfect, I say hooray, because it means I don't have to strive to be perfect. I need only live life as it is and make the best of the opportunities which come along. So, what's different about those years to now? I'm sober one day at a time, and what helps me keep sober? Family, community, society, professionals, all have a part to play, and also a fellowship which I never realised existed for most of those 35 years, and that fellowship is Alcoholics Anonymous. I could see the problem with others, with alcohol, but I could never see my own problem, because I didn't want it to be so. And I don't know when I stepped from ignorance to denial, but in the end I was denying the fact that alcohol was killing me, and had actually diverted me off a path of life which could have been quite different. So I don't regret the past, and I don't look back and stare. I look back and reflect and get something from it. So the Fellowship of AA taught me how to live life in the moment. And AA has 12 steps of action for the individual, 12 steps of action to change my attitude and behaviour, and it has 12 traditions which hold it together. So I'll share the preamble of AA just so you know what it's all about, or what I'm all about, and how I want to live my life. And the preamble, or the statement of intent about AA, goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So, the only requirement for membership, a desire to stop drinking, and then our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I was asked to do a chair last night, which is to do the main share to start a meeting off, and then listen to the experience, strength and hope of other people. And for me it's a privilege. It's part of doing service, but it's also a privilege to hear how other people are making life work one day at a time. So the gift for me is not me doing the chair, but it's the opportunity to listen to others and what's going on for them. And that's the same for any meeting I go to. So the anonymity bit in Alcoholics Anonymous is very important to me. It's the place where we can find our truth, and truth for me is the spiritual connection to living. So what does AA do for me? It improves my ability to understand my emotional, spiritual and physical well-being on a daily basis, and I always start with a scorecard of nil at the beginning of the day and see how I go. And if it's risen above nil, I've had a reasonable day. But if something stayed still, it probably means I haven't been engaging in life, including myself. Maybe I'm standing back from it, or maybe I'm watching my life like a television program and waiting to be fixed in some way. But all I know these days is if we go out and do something, something's going to happen. And if we open up to the world rather than shut down, which is what alcohol did to me, then we have a better chance. And I share the daily reflections here, this book, and in it covers one of the 12 steps each month. So November is all about prayer meditation, but it's also about the 11th tradition, and I'll share it here now because it's quite important, because it actually impacts on me doing these videos to an extent. It says our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio and films. So you can guess why I can be seen to be slightly off track, but this is what it says for November the 25th. A powerful tradition. In the years before the publication of the book, Alcoholics Anonymous, we had no name. By a narrow majority, the verdict was for naming our book The Way Out. One of our early lone members found exactly 12 books already entitled The Way Out, so Alcoholics Anonymous became first choice. That's how we got a name for our book of experience, a name for our movement, and as we are now beginning to see, a tradition of the greatest spiritual import. And that comes from AA's traditions, how it developed. And it goes on to say, beginning with Bill's momentous decision in Akron, that's Bill Wilson, the co-founder, to make a telephone call rather than a visit to the hotel bar, how often has a higher power made itself felt at crucial moments in our history? The eventual importance of the principle of anonymity would acquire was dimly perceived, if at all, in those early days. There seems to have been an element of chance even in the choice of a name for our fellowship. God is no stranger to anonymity, and often appears in human affairs in the guises of luck, chance or coincidence. If anonymity somewhat fortuitously became the spiritual basis for all our traditions, perhaps God was acting anonymously on our behalf. Yeah, so anonymity of prime importance, and for me anonymity to find our truth is the spiritual connection. So we all have our understandings, and I wouldn't want to tread on the toes of anybody else around that. And for as Bill sees it for today, if I've got time, I think I have, as Bill sees it this one, it says here, those other people. Just like you, I've often thought myself victim of what other people say or do. Yet every time I confess the sins of such people, especially those whose sins did not correspond exactly with my own, I found that I only increased the total damage. My own resentment, my self-pity, would often render me well nigh useless to anybody. So nowadays, if anybody talks of me so as to hurt, I first ask myself, is there any truth at all in what they say? If there is none, I try to remember that I too have my periods of speaking bitterly of others. That hurtful gossip is but a symptom of our remaining emotional illness, and consequently that I must never be angry at unreasonableness of sick people. Under very trying conditions I have had, again and again, to forgive others, also myself. Have you recently tried this? And the gift in all of that is overcoming resentments against ourselves so we can overcome resentments against others. It's like those who have sinned, who should cast the first stone. All that. So, Tradition 11 and anonymity. How do we get a message out when our 12th step is all about sharing experience, strength and hope? It is a bit of a dichotomy, and that's what life is all about. Finding the path which works for us, finding the path of open, honest and willing, and making adjustments as we go and understand life a little bit better. So that serenity prayer to acceptance, God, to the God of your conscience, to the God of your understanding and all good conscience. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is simply, for me, just for today.